Thanks, Stacy. I know you're busy, and I'm glad we were able to get it together.
It's just gonna be kind of on the fly a little bit,
That's
but
okay.
I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I know. We both do. We do this every day, so it's just.
You do this all the time.
I do. Okay, here we go. We got 23 people in the waiting room. That's good.
Okay, good.
Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We are just waiting on a few more people. We're going to get started in a sec. Starting off, I'd love to see which organizations you're all representing. So if you want to go ahead and rename yourself really quickly with your name and then also your organization, it'd be great so we can see everyone that's with us today. And I apologize in advance. I've had some kind of glitchy internet this morning. So if I get a little glitchy, Stacy, just shoot me a message or someone wave their hand.
Well, you've already gotten a little glitchy, so.
Okay. Is it clear right now?
It's clear now.
Good to know. All right. We'll just give us one more minute. There's a few more people jumping on, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
Oh, I don't have a camera on this.
Perfect.
Think so.
People are connecting. Hi, Mindy. Good morning.
I should say good morning.
All right. I think that's mostly everyone jumping on.
Morning.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone to today's professional development webinar. We're really excited that you're able to join us. I'm joined by my colleague, Stacy Brooks, who's our Director of HR and Administration. We put together this webinar really because we wanted to let our community and let our nonprofit members and our non-members know about all the services and benefits that we offer in the realm of professional development. And so today we're going to be covering just an overview of why professional development is important, and then hearing from some of our nonprofits that have actually benefited from that experience. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to get us started. Give me 1 second.
I'm gonna get my glasses.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. All right, can everyone see that okay? Perfect. So like I said, I'm joined by Stacy Brooks, my colleague. Just a quick run through, like I said, of the agenda for today. This session's probably gonna go for about an hour, but Stacy and I were chatting, we want it to be very, casual. Today is really to inform you, to allow you to ask questions, to learn more about OneOC and our professional development opportunities that you can take advantage of. So at any point, if you have questions or you go, Stacy, Kevin, what's that? That's great. Can you slow down? Just shoot a message in the chat and let us know. We'll have time for Q&A at the end of this session as well. But like I said, the goal for today really is to highlight the importance of professional development in the nonprofit sector, both for you as an individual professional as well as for your whole organization. And then Stacy's going to share some best practices around creating a culture of learning and professional development in your organization. So how do we transition from a lot of nonprofits we talk about, we would love to have professional development, we value it, but how do we actually integrate that into our culture and into the day-to-day of our organization? And then we're going to talk about some of our professional development plans. So if you're looking to, really put that into action and create opportunities for your staff to grow and develop and actually have a system and process for that, Stacy is going to let you know a little bit about OneOC's process through that journey and then how you can integrate that into your own organization. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about our training services, which I know many of you on the call, many of you have taken our different trainings, many of you have taken a part of our cohorts or our different webinars. I'm just going to share some of those benefits. And then what I really want to cover is a way to put that professional development into practice through our annual learning subscription program. And we're actually going to hear from two of our nonprofits that are going to be sharing. Sue Casa is going to be presenting about their experience with the annual learning subscription around, as well as Girl Scouts of Orange County. So we're going to hear from two of our nonprofits and their experience and how it's benefited them. And then we'll just finish up with some time with some Q&A. So that's what we kind of have on the docket for today. Hopefully that sounds good to everyone. Before I jump in, I wanted to just share a little bit about OneOC in general. I won't spend too much time here. For those of you that are new to the OneOC network, we do a lot of things at OneOC. Our mission is to accelerate nonprofit success and to meet the growing needs of our community. And as you can see in our mission statement, we're only successful as an organization when our nonprofits are successful and when they're accelerating their success. And so we do that through a wide variety of different services and solutions. We are a management services organization, so we provide a variety of different services in the volunteer management space, organizational development, our back office services, which Stacy oversees, which includes our HR administration, our HR recruitment, our financial accounting, as well as a huge part of OneOC is connecting the nonprofit sector with the for-profit sector. And doing our CSR work and our Match, Meet, Serve projects, and really getting the community of the nonprofit sector and the for-profit sector to match together to really promote volunteerism and corporate social responsibility. So that's a little bit about what we do. We do a lot of things, but as you can see on this bubble chart, we're really going to be focusing today on the leadership development and the training pieces, so the strategy and execution of your nonprofit. And like I said, we really believe that training and professional development are really the driving tools to ensure that our nonprofits have the knowledge and the tools and the skills they need to achieve their mission. And so that's why we're talking about this today. We really value this. I want to see, we're really passionate about it. And we hope to see nonprofits become as passionate about it as we are to really grow your success and develop your talent. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Stacy Brooks, our Director of HR and Administration, who's going to share just a little bit about professional development and how we've done it at OneOC and some opportunities for your team.
Hi, everyone. I hear a little background noise there, but I am excited to be with you today and talk about one of my favorite topics, which is professional development. This is something that I'm passionate about. It's very close to my heart. And just a little background on me. I've been working in the nonprofit arena now for 30 years. I'm going to age myself, but 30 years. Half of that has been working directly in programs. I started off my freshman year in college with Olive Crest. I started off working with Olive Crest. I was a director of their programs there. I was there for about 16 years or so as directors of program Direct Care with their level 14 program. So their therapeutic center, which was right across the street from where we're located at here at OneOC, and working with severely emotionally disturbed and neglected youth then. And so development and running that program, we were heavily dependent upon the staff. That's when I really had the clue that it was all about the staff development, that our staff, as cliche as it sounds, is our number one investment. They're our greatest asset. And we are depending on our staff, especially with Direct Care. I also worked at Boys Town. And I transitioned to human resources about 15 years ago. So professional development is close to my heart. One reason why is because of experience that I had at Olive Crest. So I had a young lady that was suicidal, and she had been on what we consider to be a one-on-one for most of her time there at Olive Crest, which was years, so we watched her day and night. Even while she was sleeping, we had a one-to-one staff on her. She was a teenager, and she was highly suicidal. She attempted to jump off the 5 freeway at one point, just to give you kind of where she was at due to the abuse that she had in her life. And so there was one night I'm at home, in the middle of the night, sleeping as most of us do. And we received a call in the middle of the night that she had gotten a hold of some keys to a medical cart, and she'd taken all of our clients. We had 30 at that time. She had taken all of their medication, and she was found to be unresponsive. And the staff was supposed to have been watching her. We had the safety trainings, but there was a breakdown in that. And she did survive that, but it was touch and go for a while. And that really is what started me on this road to the importance of investing in our staff. I mean, there were other breakdowns outside of the training and the development, but part of that development is holding the staff accountable, right? That's part of that. And so, and also just the competencies of your organizations and the value of your organization. We'll talk about that a little bit, but that really is what put me on this road to really want to advocate and push for professional development. And so I'm happy to be speaking with you today on this topic, because it is a very important topic for many reasons. And you all are in different different forms of the nonprofit, some direct care, some not, but training and development
Bianca
is important.
Is a project.
All right, so I am going to go into our presentation for today. I feel like I started that off with a kind of somber, but it really is why it's so close to my heart. Okay, so I wanted to set that preface there. So professional development, the goal of professional development, it is to align your employee goals, right? Your employee goals and their performance with the organization's goals. That is the goal of professional development. You want to align your employee goals and their performance with your overall organizational goals and strategies. That's when it is most effective. There's a focus on upskilling your employees and filling in those gaps. And so you have to be able to identify those gaps and upskill your employees to fill in those knowledge gaps. So general goal of professional development. You can go to the next slide, Kevin. Why is leadership and professional development important? One is because it's in demand. It's what your employees want, especially your millennials. So 87% of millennials say that learning and development in the workplace is important to them. 59% says opportunities to learn and grow is extremely important when they're deciding to apply for a job. So to attract your employees these days, professional development is very important. 92% in general, employees in general, so even outside of the millennials, think having access to professional development is very important. So it is, it's what is in demand right now, that professional development. Beyond compensation, and I do recruiting, we do recruiting for ourselves, of course, and then for nonprofit organizations, and I hear this quite a bit. Growth mindset, growth trajectory, professional development is important and is what the employees want. It also increases employee engagement and retention. So employees with professional development opportunities are 15% more engaged. 93% say they will stay with the company longer if the company invests in their development. So it is less expensive, right, to retain an employee than to hire a new employee. So to invest in our employees, it increases, our bottom line. Employees with professional development opportunities have 34% higher retention. So again, professional development leadership is important. Next slide, Kevin. It improves our bottom line. So IBM did a study, and they saw an increase in profit when they started focusing on their professional development with their employees. 14% to 29% increase in profit, and then a 10% increase in productivity. Employees just feel good when you're investing in them and when they know that their companies are invested in them. It also improves customer service and satisfaction. So an example of that is if a customer calls and your employees or your client calls in and your employee is thoroughly trained to respond to the call efficiently, right, and effectively, then there is going to be an increase in customer satisfaction. It's going to be less of the "let me get back to you" type of response, or let me find out, let me talk to my supervisor and get back to you. But it's more of an immediate response, as an example, and it increases the customer satisfaction. Yet, on average, nonprofits in Orange County spend less than 1% of their organization budget on professional development. Although it's important, nonprofits in Orange County spend less than 1% of their organization budget on professional development. And there's many reasons for that. I sit on the Nonprofit Advisory Council that OneOC has, and some of that come out in some of the breakout sessions that we have. Of course, budgeting is one. So professional development and training is most often not the highest priority when it comes to budgeting, or just not able to do it. The other is the bandwidth to train. Some of the supervisors, we just don't have the bandwidth to upskill. We don't have the time to train. And then also hear that what if we do train them and then they're a hot commodity, right? That they'll go to other organizations, or they'll get recruited by other organizations. So those are some of the things that we hear as far as what is preventing a formalized professional development program. So we can talk to that a little later as well. So what the aim is to develop a learning culture. What is a learning culture? So we talked about why it's important to have a leadership and professional development program or a plan. But what is a learning culture in general? So there's lots of studies on this, there's lots of articles, but in general, it's one that values and encourages learning. A culture that values and encourages learning. Developing a culture that supports learning, it is an investment. It's an investment in funds, it's an investment in time. So, make no mistake, we do know that it is an investment. We here at OneOC, we embarked on a leadership and professional development program about 6 years ago now. Put a lot of time into it. We actually started with our board, and we created a task force with board members to help us get this program off the ground and kind of pull ideas from the for-profit as well, as us as the nonprofit experts. So we started that about 6 years ago. And we learned, as the study shows, that it does start with the leadership. So developing a learning culture starts with leadership. You have to have your CEO buy-in. You have to have your leadership team, however which way you're structured, they have to have the buy-in, because they're going to have to lead by example. Also have to hire smart, right? You want to hire people that have a growth mindset. The more that I am recruiting for nonprofits, I hear that we want someone with a growth trajectory. We want someone that want to be elevated in the organization within 2 years or what have you. So having a growth mindset. Developing personalized learning plans. That's what we did here at OneOC. That's important to develop a learning culture, is to develop personalized learning plans, and then also to be able to give personalized coaching. So again, that's what we've developed here at OneOC. We do have tools that Kevin can share with you later, but we do have tools to assist in that. We have what we call the PXT assessment that we issue. And it's an assessment. We use it for selection as far as hiring is concerned, but also the results help you as far as coaching your employees is concerned. So it's a great learning tool, leadership and development tool. If I have time later, I'll share it. I think some on the call have actually taken this assessment because we do offer it to our nonprofits. So it helps you hire smart, it helps you with coaching. And then we also can assist if you do not have the time, we can assist with developing your plan, your leadership and professional development plan, and an individualized development plan. So we can share those with you. All right, Kevin. So let's talk briefly about just OneOC's process. I think that will be helpful. And of course, reach out to me afterwards because our time is limited. But our process, we started, as I mentioned, with our board, our task force on the board. So the first thing you have to do is you have to develop your own philosophy. What do you think about professional development? And so we worked through that, and we had focus groups and meetings. And so OneOC, first of all, we're a service organization, so we're not direct service. So we are highly reliant upon the quality of our staff, right, to meet the mission and fulfill our commitment to you all and to the community. And so because we count on our staff so heavily, our overview is that we're going to be passionate. We have to be passionate about developing the talent within the organization. I believe some of you are in the same place, right? You're highly reliant upon your staff. And so professional development has to be critical. It has to be a high priority to both the short and the long-term success of your organizations. Our vision is we want to be a top nonprofit employer of choice for individuals that want to make a difference in the lives of our community. We want to bring people on that want to accelerate nonprofit success. And then we have our strategy behind that. So this is what we started with. You can go to the next slide, Kevin. So then we put together a strategy to fulfill that overview, as well as what our vision is. That included high quality training, and the training is related not only to the job function, but the overall strategic goals. Where I see a lack mostly is it's individualized with some of the organizations, and it's tied to the job functions, but sometimes it's not tied to the overall strategic goals of the organization. And there's a progression with that. And so for it to be effective, it needs to be tied to the strategic goals of the organization. We implemented a recognition program and the professional development plan. And so that's how we started with developing our professional development program. And then we're also looking at competitive compensation to make sure of that. So we do compensation analysis to ensure that. We design our needs and our outcomes as far as this program. Mainly, we want to make sure that our staffing levels are maintained at sufficient levels to cover our operational responsibilities, as well as our future growth. So now and then looking down the line, some with succession planning as well. And we wanted to identify what we consider a high potential staff. within the organization. And we also place the emphasis on growing our own. As much as possible, we wanted to promote our employees to higher level position, and we've been able to do so. So we're pleased with the way we're going. There's definitely always room for improvement. We're looking at our plan on an annualized basis. Just to make sure that it is still in alignment with the overall strategies, that it's progressive with what's going on in general with the world. So next slide, Kevin. And so we also wanted, again, I can't say this enough, to align the staff development strategies with the organizational goals. That's been a bigger emphasis that we've been placing on this year. Last year was a different year for everyone, right? For the entire world. So we use this year as a time to kind of relook at our program and make sure that it's in alignment with the strategies that we have now. With that, we have created a template for individualized development plan, as well as professional development plans. We can talk about that if we have time later as well. And then we have to make sure that our supervisors are trained to provide the needed resources. Your supervisors and your managers, they are the most important, one of the most important aspects of an effective professional development program and a leadership program. And so they need the resources, they need the training to make sure that they're able to professionally develop and they're creating an environment conducive to professional development of their direct reports. Next slide. And so the model that we've used what we've decided to use is our 70-20-10 model, where 70% is on the job learning. A lot of you are already doing a lot of this, right? A lot of you are informally doing this, just on the job training, experiential learning. 20% is learning through others. And so that's your networking, that's peers, role model, coaching. And then the last 10% is the formal learning. So that's structured and directed learning. That's what we offer here at OneOC. And Kevin will talk about that 10%, where it's the more formalized and more structured learning through our organizational and development services department. So we've adopted a 70-20-10 model. I am going to go ahead and turn it over to Kevin. He's going to talk about the formal learning. But again, you can reach out to me at any time here at OneOC. I'm Stacy Brooks. I think Kevin has shared my contact information, but sbrooks@oneoc.org. I'm always willing to speak on this topic. So thank you so much for your time today. I'm going to turn it over to Kevin now.
Thanks, Stacy. Appreciate it. So in that vein, just continuing, I'm going to talk a little bit about some opportunities for formal learning that you have the opportunity to invest in your staff. And so hopefully Stacy's sharing really paints the context to the importance of professional development, the importance of training. And we shared our OneOC philosophy really just to show you we're not the experts by any means, but we are growing in that direction. We are committed to being the experts, and we want to help our nonprofits move in this direction, and really think that there is a huge value to investing in the 70-20-10 model, and especially in some formal learning opportunities. So with that, I want to share how OneOC can help in this process of staff and professional development. So I'm just going to do a quick overview of some of our training services for some of you that might not be as familiar. OneOC, our training department, provides over 125 training courses, certificates, cohorts, webinars, and networking events each year. And the focus of that, really our vision for the nonprofit sector, is to make sure that every nonprofit has quality and affordable training and professional development opportunities. And in taking those opportunities, that those nonprofit staff have the knowledge, skills, and abilities to effectively serve their organization's mission. So Stacy kind of touched on this, but we fully recognize in the nonprofit sector that professional development isn't always budgeted, or it's not always the top priority. And so we are hoping to change that narrative in the nonprofit sector and make it a top priority. But we also know that not all nonprofits are big enough or have the resources to have an internal training or professional development department. So OneOC really exists to help provide those services to our nonprofits to be your go-to external training provider. And so with that, we provide training in a wide variety of areas. Some of you are probably familiar with some of these, but we really focus on 5 key competency areas. And these are the 5 key competencies that we've decided as an organization. These are essential for any nonprofit professional. These are essential for any nonprofit organization to be successful. And so as you can see on the screen, we have first leadership and professional development. So that's going to be stuff focusing such on as coaching, supervision, effective communication, general professional development, not just maybe for the job functions, but also for the person as an individual as they move on in their career, but really that leadership and management heavy focus. The second area that we really focus on in our trainings is business and organizational planning. So that includes human resource management, financial management, organizational strategy, general operations, and project management. So really giving your staff the tools they need to manage projects, to plan ahead for the future of your organization. The third category that we offer a lot of training resources in is board excellence. So that could be some board training we do for our companies, but everyone on this call is our nonprofits. So we offer training in board development, board governance, board assessments, board recruitment, and really just general board effectiveness. And we've actually added some new trainings this year that are coming up in May if you're interested in some board recruitment and board governance best practices. Fourth category, and one that I think is incredibly important, is the idea of program development and program management and program evaluation. So how are we developing effective programs? How are we evaluating the success of our programs, delivering that impact to funders, managing general operations of those programs? And then something that is core to OneOC, previously to being OneOC, we were the Volunteer Center of Orange County. We are deeply passionate about volunteer management and about strategically using volunteers across the whole enterprise of a nonprofit. So we offer tons of different training and volunteer recruitment, volunteer training, volunteer placement, as well as how to use skill-based volunteers in your organization. And then lastly, essential to any nonprofit is your fundraising. So how are your fundraising strategy, the different opportunities, different ways of generating income through fundraising, whether that's grant writing or annual campaigns or capital campaigns. We have a wide variety of training resources in those areas. So I just wanted to paint a context to, okay, cool. We really care about professional development. So what are the resources that are available? These are just some of the high level areas that OneOC focuses on for our training program. So for 2021, we've actually added some new training classes that I'm going to show up next on the next slide. And then we've also added a new member benefit. And I really want to emphasize this for those on the call, because some of you might not know about this. So for our OneOC members, we formed a couple partnerships with 2 organizations. The first one is Nonprofit Learning Lab, and the second is Nonprofit Ready. And we have partnered with them to provide over 250 webinars and online trainings to our members for free. And I'm going to talk about, if you're a OneOC member, how you can take advantage of that. It is unfortunately only available for members, but we encourage you, if you're not a OneOC member, to join our network, and I'll talk about how you can do that. So just to get you excited about some of the new classes that we've even added in 2021, if you're curious, we've added all of these, about 10 new classes. So I'm not going to run through each of them, but some ones that we've already started that have actually been a major success are Succeeding in Nonprofit Management. Tim Strauer, our CEO, actually facilitated that on a successful career in nonprofit management. We had our new organizational strategy and planning class. We added a new financial management. So budgeting, understanding financial statements, basically the finance for non-finance people. We added that class, and that was a huge success. We have our fundraising playbook for your board coming up in May. So I'll send you information on how you can access our training catalog where all this information lives, but just wanted to give you a highlight of how you can learn more about some of our training classes. And then, like I said, we formed a partnership with the Nonprofit Learning Lab, as well as Nonprofit Ready. Nonprofit Learning Lab is really, it's going to be webinar content that you can use to really supplement our training. So there's pre-recorded webinars on there, over 250 of them. on fundraising, marketing, budgeting. So for example, if your staff couldn't come to one of our full trainings, but you still wanted them to grow their skills, let's use email marketing as an example. There's webinars on there that they can get kind of a preview taste to get some of the fundamental skills. The same with Nonprofit Ready. These are going to be self-paced online trainings that you can take at your own pace. So if one of your staff members can't come to our in-person or virtual trainings in this virtual world that we're still doing, they can log into Nonprofit Ready and take some of those classes to build their skills. So some of you are probably asking, Kevin, that's awesome. How do I access those free resources? So first off, if you're not a OneOC member, those two webinars and resources I just talked about, those are only available for our OneOC members. Our general trainings are available for anyone, but for a OneOC member, you receive a 20% discount. So another reason to join the OneOC network. So if you want to become a member, I'll put the link in the chat at the end for how you can sign up to be a OneOC member. Once you are a member, I'll put the link to join our membership support network. When you enter the support network, you will see, you'll be accepted into it. And then the training resources are attached there. So you can click on those links and set up your accounts for Nonprofit Learning Lab and Nonprofit Ready and enjoy access to those hundreds of webinars and online trainings. So I just covered a lot with that. I have one more section before we hear some testimonials from our nonprofits, but I just want to pause. And does anyone have any questions? And if you do, feel free to put it in the chat. I see some chats coming through. I had one person saying they can't see the slides. Can we see the slides okay, Stacy? Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Feel free to put in the chat. I'll give you 1 minute, or just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question freely. Okay. Well, we'll keep going. We will have some time for Q&A at the end, but I will put these links in here. 1, to become a OneOC member, and 2, once you're a member, or if you already are a member, because I know a lot of you on this call are, you can join the member support network. And I want to make this really clear because I actually talked to some nonprofits this week that were confused about it. For the membership support network, you can have any, if you're a nonprofit as a member, so we have Sukasa with us on this call. One of their staff is going to be sharing. Anyone from Sukasa can join this network. And so feel free to share that link with your team. We post valuable resources in there and upcoming opportunities. So lastly, before I pass it off to some of our nonprofits to share, I want to share about something that's really, really important about that 10% learning. So how can you save money on training, and how can you offer these resources, all of those 125 classes to your nonprofit staff, and really invest in their training this year and in the years ahead. So we recognized at OneOC, like I said, a lot of nonprofits didn't have the training and professional development resources internally, and a lot of them couldn't afford to take our classes individually. We do our best to make our courses affordable, but we wanted to think of a way, how can we make training even more affordable for our nonprofits? And so a few years ago, we developed something called our annual learning subscription program. And what that is with our annual learning subscription program, your organization receives unlimited access to all 150 of our in-person, not right now, but when we're back in person, virtual and online training courses and certificates. All of that training content in our library is probably valued at about $10,000. And with the subscription, your nonprofit team, you can elect all, say your organization was the size of 50 people, you could elect all 50, or you could just elect a few of them. And those staff receive access to all of our training content. And so they can take any training throughout the year. It's for a 365-day period. And some of the benefits of the annual learning subscription are, on average, we've had about, I think, 20 nonprofits that have participated in the learning subscription program. They save about $2,500 per year on training. If you can imagine, some of our courses are anywhere between $100 to $300, and some of our certificates are $500. With the subscription, you can save a ton of money on that, and I'll show you how the price breaks down and how that works. But on average, our nonprofits save $2,500 per year on training. Second, kind of repeating the statistic that Stacy shared, 94% of employees said that they would stay longer. 94%, that's pretty much all of them, said they would stay longer in the organization if the nonprofit or the organization would simply help them develop. So we really believe that if you're looking to retain your top employees, you have to take the financial investment to invest in them. And the return on investment is huge. You know, Stacy alluded to this, but the cost it takes to onboard a new employee, especially someone in your leadership, is much more costly than investing at the front end in training and professional development. Third statistic here, 85% of training participants, this is a statistic from OneOC. So 85% of our training participants have indicated that our training and professional development offered has actually prepared them to do their jobs more effectively. So there's twofold here, right? It's investing them as individuals, but it's also making sure that they have the knowledge and skills they need to do their job successfully. And I'm really proud to share that statistic that 85% of folks say, yes, the training that I take at OneOC, it's not just nice to have. It's not just, okay, my staff told me to go or my supervisor told me to go and I checked the box, but they're reporting that they're actually having a transfer of that in the workplace. That what they're learning in our training room or on Zoom or in our online classes is actually benefiting them and hopefully in changing their performance. So you might go, last point here, Kevin, that's great. How much does this cost? How do I do this? What does that even look like? I just want to give you a quick preview. So our nonprofits purchase these different packages, and you'll see on the screen, there's wide ranging of packages sizes you can purchase. So 5 users, 10 users, 25 users, and they don't have to fit perfectly. If your organization's 17 people, we can work with you to find a package that fits you. But as you can see, for example, for 10 users, $2,500, that means those 10 staff members get unlimited access to any of our training content for a whole year. Like I said, our training content is valued at about $10,000. So technically, it's kind of $100,000 that they have access to for $2,500. It's $250 per person, and those 10 people can take any training that they want at OneOC for a whole year. So I just wanted to paint that picture, and you know, it's probably easy to hear from me. I'm the training manager. This is the program I oversee, but I really wanted to share some of the experiences of our nonprofits and the benefits they have experienced from investing in training and professional development from OneOC. So last kind of quote for you. One of my favorites from Benjamin Franklin: an investment in knowledge always pays the best interest. So you know, you're paying some money up front, but it really is a long-term investment. So I'm going to pass it off in 1 second to Glee Harris, the VP of HR at Girl Scouts Orange County. But Todd, I see that you have your hand raised. Feel free to unmute yourself if you have a quick question.
Kevin, I may have missed this, but there's not an issue if we wanted to include, rather than staff, you've referred to staff as being part of this group, but we would like to include some, if not all, of our board. So they could be an inclusive member of that group, right?
That's exactly right. Thanks for bringing that up, Todd. So the annual learning subscription is not limited to just your employees. It can be, we have some nonprofits that include their volunteers as well as board members. Great question.
Kevin, there's a question in the chat that says, can you be a member as an individual, or can you only be if the organization is a member?
Yes, that's a great question. So OneOC does offer an individual membership. We actually just added that last year. So great question. I will, when I put the chat link to our membership page, you'll see you can sign up to become an individual member. And on there is listed what the individual benefits are. Unfortunately, the annual learning subscription, meaning the unlimited access to training, is just for our organizations. But as an individual, when you sign up for an individual membership, you receive that 20% discount on training, and you can gain access to the, I know I'm throwing a lot of jargon around, but the Nonprofit Learning Lab and the Nonprofit Resource Ready webinars, you get access to that. So for those of you that are on the call and you're perhaps a nonprofit professional or you're looking to transition into the sector, we have the individual membership with a ton of training resources that you can take advantage of. All right, I see a few more questions. Are the fees for the annual learning subscription?
Oh,
no, go ahead, go ahead.
sorry. You mentioned a couple of the things about how you guys were very focused on connecting industry volunteers with different nonprofits. Do you guys still offer that?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we definitely still offer that connection. That's a huge part of OneOC. So you were saying that to connect nonprofits with, can you say your question one more time?
Yeah, connecting our nonprofit with different volunteers just to do the program evaluation that you had mentioned to see the impact of our program. And we wanted to see how we can change and perhaps enhance our programs.
Yeah, so is your question to how to recruit volunteers to do that program evaluation?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'll include that in a link as well. We have a pretty robust volunteer management system where you can post volunteer opportunities. So you could post on there that Vital Link is looking for an evaluation expert to help you evaluate the effectiveness of your programs. And that's where where volunteers can be looking for those opportunities and sign up to volunteer in your nonprofit. So I'll also post our volunteer posting page for you guys as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Lisa asked a great question. Are the fees for the annual learning subscription a year from the date you buy? Yes. So it's not like you have to sign up January 1. You can sign up any date. So if you signed up today on April 15th, tax day, but it actually got extended, so you're all good. You have a full year. So you would have from April 15th, 2021 to April 14th, 2022 for the subscription. Great questions. Just to keep us on track, I am going to pass it off quickly to Glee Harris, who's the VP of HR from Girl Scouts of Orange County. Glee, I saw you earlier. Are you on the call still?
I'm here.
Perfect. Okay, well, I'm going to pass it to you, Glee. Thank you so much for being here. Glee's organization has purchased an annual learning subscription and invested in professional development in a few different ways from OneOC, and I invited her to just to share a little bit about their experience and some of the highlights. So Glee, thanks so much, and I'll pass it off to you.
Great. Thanks, Kevin. I am, as Kevin said, I'm the VP of HR for Girl Scouts of Orange County, and we have had a partnership with OneOC. And so I had asked Kevin.
I'll call you back.
Oops.
Okay. Bye-bye.
I had talked to Kevin about what he would like me to talk about, and he gave me a couple of questions. So I thought I'd just kind of go with that and share with you a little bit about our experience working with OneOC and having the subscription. So one of the questions that Kevin wanted me to focus on was, how has training through OneOC benefited our staff? And I would have to say that GSOC and OneOC, we've had a strong relationship for many years, but the training program in particular is an excellent program with strong classes and trainers and overall experience. And our staff just absolutely loves having the ability to use the OneOC training classes. So through our partnership with OneOC, we've seen a lot of benefits, actually, including things like improving performance and better management skills, and improved Microsoft Office technical skills like Excel and Word, and also increased morale. So it's been really beneficial for us. Another question that Kevin had brought up was, what performance or engagement improvements have you seen as a result of providing employees with these resources? So I have a great example. We have an employee who is currently a troop support person. She's in the troop support area. And this employee had expressed an interest in taking on new projects and more responsibility. So through OneOC, this employee, she's taken several classes. She has taken Becoming an Emotionally Intelligent Manager, Leading Teams, Excel Advanced Skills, and also has gotten a volunteer management certificate this past year. So because of this training, she has taken on an interim role as the head of our DEI team. And she is just doing a fantastic job. And I would say that, that employee is just one example. We've seen similar success stories with others who have participated in OneOC as well. So yeah. The next question was, why did Girl Scouts choose to invest in staff development? And, honestly, I would say it's to boost our bottom line. That's the main reason. We know that employees who are trained well, they know how to do their work well, and that keeps them at a high performance level. So it's also a great recruitment tool. We are able to recruit based on some of the perks that we offer, and this is considered to be one of our perks. Candidates know that we invest in our employees, and that's really important to them. It also increases employee engagement. Last year, we earned the OC Register's Top Workplaces of 2020 by improving our employee engagement score. And that employee engagement score had not changed at all for years. And then this last year, when we started offering more trainings to some of our employees, that went up. So that was really exciting. And I do attribute this in part to the professional development that we offer our employees. I think it's really important, and it is a way to keep employees engaged. And I would say that the employee that I was speaking about earlier, she is definitely an example of that. And then finally, the last question was, why is it important to have professional development budget? I think this is probably the most important thing. Like most nonprofits, we have a very tight budget. We do not have a lot of money in our budget to pay for, additional trainings or things like that. So, but we also have an understanding that it's important. So having a training budget and committing to it has forced us to look to the future. And we know that training is something we value, so we make sure to budget for it every year. And so by partnering with OneOC, we were able to purchase a subscription. And through that subscription, we were able to offer a variety of classes to many of our employees. And we really, truly did. I mean, Kevin said this earlier about saving $2,500 a year. We actually really did. We saved more than $2,500 this last year based on the number of classes that our employees participated in. So I feel really strongly that this was a great opportunity for us. And I'm really glad that we did have that partnership with OneOC. So Kevin, I don't know if you would like to open it up for questions or just move on to your next speaker.
Yeah, no, Glee, thank you so much. That was so helpful. And I didn't know that about the OC register. And that's really encouraging to hear. Obviously, OneOC is just a part of that, but
yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's a huge value add.
Thanks for having me.
I do want to, thank you so much for being here. I do want to introduce Mary Parks. I know she has to jump off at 11. So Mary, I couldn't find you on my screen because for some reason people are coming in as my name. So you're under, your Zoom is under Kevin Pappas, but that's okay. Really quickly, Mary is the Director of Finance for Sukasa, Ending Domestic Violence. And she has actually, we've had a close relationship over the last couple of years of investing in their staff development. They've actually done an annual subscription. They're on their third year. So Mary, do you want to just go ahead and, I know you only have a few minutes, but share a little bit about your experience and how Sukasa's benefited.
Sure. First of all, I agree totally with what Glee had to say. Yes, ditto for us. On the first question, how has training through OneOC benefited your staff? We have taken part in the grant writing class, and our grant writing skills have definitely gotten better. If anything, we are definitely more confident and bold in asking for a little more money than what we would have normally have asked for. We've had a really successful year as far as grant writing goes. We were a recipient of the Day One Foundation $1.25 million stock donation this last year. One of the, Kevin mentioned the new classes, and I encourage everyone to make it a habit to keep looking at the training catalog to see what is being added. Back, I want to say the end of 2018, Sukasa participated in the top facilitation method class, and that's TOP, it's an acronym. And as soon as I saw that, I jumped on it because when I had worked for another agency, I knew that this was a really expensive program, and it was so helpful. And it's about teaching people how to facilitate a group. And so I took it because I tend to be the finance person whispering in someone's ear. I'm not really good in front of an audience. And then I took it with somebody who was very comfortable in front of an audience, and we each got something out of it. And so it came really helpful because prior to the pandemic, our boss had given us an assignment to see if we could pretty much run things without her being around. And so we used the skills from the top facilitation class to run a group with management. And it was so helpful because 2 months later, the pandemic hit. We didn't shut down, but we were abiding by the safer at home order. And I'm not going to say it was a smooth transition, but had we not had those meetings ahead of the pandemic, using the skills that we learned, it would have been a much different picture than what ended up happening. Let's see. See, what improvements have we seen? One of the, I think I mentioned, just having more confidence. A lot of times I find that I love the small groups that they're usually about 25 people, and there's far less people in the class, and you really find out, you really get your answers, your questions answered, and you get to meet other people and hear a different side of their of what they're going through at their agency, especially in the Leading Across the Generations class. That was really helpful. That class also helped me in that our board members, half of them are baby boomers. And so there's times where I find myself struggling with getting a line item through. And sometimes it is that staff development line. And part of it is that generation that I realize now, is like, oh, that's what I was up against. It was that type of thinking. And so let's see what else. The next question was, why did Sukasa choose to invest in staff development? And it's back to what Glee had said. And years ago, I read a statement, and I keep it nearby because finance and HR are sometimes, we tend to butt heads. And in this statement, it goes as follows: HR and finance may be two distinct departments with separate objectives, but they share many interests. Recruiting, retention, and engagement are key HR activities, and done correctly, they translate to enhanced financials. And so I think that's exactly what Glee said in her testimonial, that you need to invest. We're all working with at-risk families or issues that you couldn't pour enough money into it and come out ahead. And then the last question is, why is it important to have a professional development budget? This one goes back to a few years ago. I conducted an exit interview, and the young man was a year out of graduate school, and he shared he was leaving because his mental health job turned out to be different than what he thought it would be, and that school didn't prepare him for what he was having to deal with. And I think that goes for all of us, that the job, whether it's finance or mental health or whatever field we're in, it's constantly changing, and a lot of it they don't teach at school. You know, there's times where I wish they would have taught a Xeroxing 101 class at school. You know, and then there's other ones where they're more a little bit challenging of how to deal with a particular HR issue, whether it's you know, they didn't really teach diversity, equity, and inclusion in school. That's sort of a new thing, and so I think that's why it's important. Not everything is taught in a textbook. That's it.
Thank you, Mary. I really appreciate that. And I think that is a great note to conclude on is, like Mary said, not everything is taught and in school, and the environments that we're all serving in, we all serve in different capacities and nonprofits, but it's dynamic and it's always changing. And so we need to make sure that we're providing the training and the skills for our staff to align with the changes in our clients and our customers and the people that we serve in the nonprofit sector. So I know we are at the top of the hour. I just want to give you some final wrap up thoughts. So last thing, you know, Stacy talked about the professional development plans. So if you're hearing all this and perhaps in your organization, you don't even have a framework for how to think about this, or you're going, Kevin, I'd love to do the annual learning subscription, but how are we going to keep track of that? How do we embed it into our culture? Like, you want to purchase this, but you also want to make sure that, you know, it's a part of your staff's development, that's a part of your policies, procedures, all those things. Stacy's going to be a huge value into how to implement that culture of learning that we talked about. So Stacy's email is up there, sbrooks@oneoc.org. Stacy, if you want to just put that in the chat, maybe so people can have it too. Okay, perfect. And then my contact information as well. So if you heard about the annual learning subscription today and I already saw a few chats, but you're going, wow, that's a really great opportunity to invest in our staff in an affordable way. You know, you can kind of allot all of your training resources to OneOC and we will take care of it. Please feel free to contact me. My email is right there, kpappas@oneoc.org. I'd love to set up a call with you, or even just have a conversation to learn more about your organization and see which subscription would maybe make the most sense for you. But with that, I know we are at 11. I am happy to stay on if anyone has any questions. But if you don't have any questions, thank you for being here, and feel free to drop off, but I'll stay on for 5 minutes or so if anyone has any lingering questions.
I saw that Shawnee, I think, had a question.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
I do. Thank you both so much. This was wonderful. I'm really excited to start implementing OneOC's resources with my foundation, Power of One Foundation. We're young, so I'm really excited to grow with your guys' guidance. My question is, what are the resources with all of the training that you've kind of outlined? What are the resources for Spanish-speaking team members?
That's a great question, Shawnee. All of our trainings are done in English. So that could be a potential limiting barrier. I've actually never been asked that question, but it's a really important question. Thank you for bringing that up. At this point, everything is in English. I know some of our facilitators are bilingual, but it is a small percentage. I know some of our more technical training, like the Microsoft stuff, it is offered in Spanish, but for the most part, it is primarily English speaker engaged, but that is definitely something to think about as we offer new trainings to be able to broaden our reach. So,
Okay, thank you.
Great question. Thank you, Shawnee. All right, I see some messages in the chat. How do you go about recruiting professional volunteers through OneOC? Is there a link? Yes. Let me put that. I'll stop sharing and I'll put that in the chat. Give me 1 sec. So that's actually, we have an opportunity so you can recruit skill-based volunteers. Let me pull that up for you and I'll put it in the chat. Okay, just put this in the chat for all of you. So for those of you interested in posting volunteer opportunities, here's on our website where you can go to post. So if you have specific needs where you'd like to leverage skill-based volunteers in your organization or leverage general volunteers for projects, follow that link and there's information on there and how you can post on our website. Any other questions? I think Hazel, that was a direct message. Do you include subtitles or other accessibility tactics? Deb, are you elaborating on it? Is that probably for in-person trainings or even in the virtual trainings? You're curious?
Anything, even something like this that had accessibility built into it, where there was running subtitles for people with hearing issues.
Yeah, no, it's great. I really appreciate you both bringing up these inclusion questions. They're really important. I know for the virtual trainings, or the online trainings through Nonprofit Learning Lab and Nonprofit Ready, you can activate subtitles on the videos. We are not advanced enough yet at OneOC in our virtual sessions I don't even know really how you would do that on Zoom. But I know for the self-paced trainings that there is a option to select subtitles. So for those staff members that perhaps have impaired hearing or other inabilities to engage in the material in that way, they could watch it with subtitles.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so that'll just be for the self-paced, so that won't necessarily yet be on a Zoom format.
Okay.
Great question, Deb. Any other questions from anybody about anything we covered? I know we talked about a lot. Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. Oh, we have one more. Misha. Hi, Misha.
Hi. I just wanted to let Deb know that Zoom also has the capability of doing subtitles. So if you're working through Zoom, the individual can activate it for themselves.
Does it translate the speaker's voice into subtitles?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So at least we have it on ours and on Zoom that we use internally. So I'm assuming it's available on for everybody else too.
Wow, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah,
you're welcome.
See, Deb, you learned things. If nothing else, this webinar was worth that. Now we know that.
It really was. I'm getting off here right now. I'm looking into it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Like you said, you have Stacy's email, my email. If you have any questions, I'll send some follow-up recaps. But please reach out, whether it's professional development plans, training, or anything above. Happy to answer any questions. So take care, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I think I'm gonna have these people exit. Stacy, one sec. Okay, there we go.